Hello, I'm Janet from Chez Les Fleur podcast. And if you're watching us for the first time, we welcome you. And if you are returning for another visit, we are so glad to have you back. And at Chez Les Fleur, we look at women in business that are doing it, making it happen, the ups, the downs, the ins and outs. And we just love talking to women in business and women in small business and see what's going on in their worlds. And I am more than happy to have with me today Catherine Hanrahan. And she is in the real estate game. And I think on some level, everybody loves real estate because you can physically see it anywhere. So, Catherine, welcome to the show. I am so glad you're here. And you're in real
It's such a
estate.
pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having me. I think this is a really great idea for a podcast.
Well, we're meeting a lot of great people and a lot of people doing a lot of great things in our community and our country and the world beyond. So it's really pretty awesome. So you came to real estate. You haven't always been in real estate. You kind of came from the entertainment, media, communications world. Tell me about that. Tell me how you.
Sure. Yeah, I was on the air. I was a radio show host in Peterborough for 16 years
Wow.
prior to getting started in real estate. And it's interesting. A lot of folks when I made the transition asked, those are two really different industries. How do you jump from one to the other? But it really felt quite natural for a couple of reasons. First of all, in your advanced question, you mentioned, I came from the entertainment industry to business, and I never really felt like my radio shows were, entertainment industry. Like, yes, we tried to be entertaining, but with local radio, it's really different. It's always very community minded. And I always looked at my work on the radio as very much about community building and bringing people together and talking to people as a group. So that was always my main focus in any show I've been on the radio. It's always just very locally minded, very community focused. And real estate is a lot like that. It's about forming relationships with people in the community, whether they be other realtors or whether it's the general public. Like you said, everyone's kind of into real estate, whether they realize it or not. Like, it affects us, right? We live in homes, even whether we own them or not. The value of homes in our community, the state of homes in our community, the number of homes in our community, that has an impact on everyone, and it is very much about community building. So these two things I actually thought went really well together, and it was a really natural transition for me. And I was also one of those people long before I had my real estate license that had all of realtor.ca memorized anyway. And I know there's lots of folks out there like that, like whether you're looking to move or not, people just know what's up on realtor.ca. And so I was one of them, and then the other thing that made the transition really easy is fortunately, not everyone is as lucky as I am. I was in a great position where my partner was already an established realtor. So Ben Van Veen had been selling real estate for, I think, over a decade by the time I joined him. So I really got to hit the ground running with an experienced partner who already had, a healthy client base. So I got to just get working right away, and I could make a living right away, which is not everyone gets that opportunity.
Well, and that's also a bit unique in that you've got a partnership. A lot of I mean, and I'm not in real estate, but a lot of people seem to be like a solo entity. Where tell me how having a partner, which by the way, I think the name of your partnership is pretty clever. Team Vanrahan. I love it. And
Thank you.
so tell us about the advantages of having the two of you working together.
It's honestly, I don't know how people don't do it without a partner. And I'll tell you, a lot of agents actually, whether they're a formal partnership or a relationship, a lot of agents do have these kinds of, whether it's a best friend in the business or a spouse or a family member. Even if they're not official teams, a lot of people do have to work in a kind of a team format because this is not a 9 to 5 job. There's no, summers off. There's barely, a vacation over the holidays kind of thing. Like, you make hay when the sun shines, and that can be any time of year, any time of day. so yeah, if you want to have any kind of a life, you need to be able to rely on other people. So Ben and I, we have a great system where, both of all of our clients are all of our clients. There's no one that's just for Ben and no one that's just for me. We'll have some that we kind of take the lead on. I work mostly with so and so, but really, one person just can't do it all. You've got to, every day Ben and I kind of go over our schedule for the next day and who's going to do this, who's going to do what. So it's the level of business that we have, like definitely one of us couldn't do it alone. And just for the sake of, life happens. Like I was able to go, be with my family in Sudbury for the weekend, and Ben handled the work at home, and things like that happen all the time. Like we just need to be able to fall back on each other. So you'll actually see it with a lot of other realtors in our community, whether they're officially a team or not, they'll have that person that they can rely on, because you gotta, when people are calling you at all through into the evening and weekends, you need it. Yeah.
Well, and I find that, and I'm guessing because I'm not in real estate, but there's some anxiety around buying a house, especially if it's your first one. And
Yeah.
I would suspect that even if you've handled the anxiety with your client very well, you've got to come home and go, oh, wow, I think they're good. I think they're good. They've made a good
Some of them,
choice. They,
yeah, yeah.
they're where they need to be. I think I did a good job coaching them through that.
Exactly. And it's the kind of thing where no two transactions are the same. Like there is no cookie cutter buying or selling of a home. There's something different every single time. Even if it is a cookie cutter house in a cookie cutter neighborhood, there's always some weird thing that happens. Like it's never the same, because you've got so many different intangibles, different people on either side, different realtors, different properties, different just things that can happen in a home. So with every single transaction, there is an opportunity to learn something, and there is an opportunity to innovate something. So really, it's different every time, and we bounce ideas off of each other all the time. We both really enjoy just marketing in general. We both have marketing backgrounds from before real estate. So yeah, we really love the challenge and the working together, and yeah, it is amazing. It's something that really caught me. Like, oh my, I kept saying, like, when is something just going to be normal? When's the transaction just going to be normal? And the answer is never. Like, there's no normal.
Yeah. Yeah. No, there are a lot of moving pieces in real estate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Again, my perception, because I'm not there. So,
It's correct. Yeah.
yeah. So are you finding, in, the real estate community in general, that there are more women realtors than before? I mean, it used to be, I'll call my real estate guy.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, I
yeah.
think I'll
I
call it
don't
guy.
know. I've not paid attention, and I've not looked, like, even when I think about, when we have big meetings at our office at Century 21, it's a woman-owned brokerage, which that's less common for sure. But even, when I look around the room, I'm trying to think of, do I see more men or more women? I feel like it might be pretty even. But I'll pay attention. We have our meetings on Tuesday morning. I'll answer this again tomorrow.
Okay.
But no, I actually do feel like it's one of those industries where I think like women have been doing it for a long time. And I kind of think of the, just like retro kind of TV shows, and there's always, that dapper lady real estate agent who, I think it's one of those industries where maybe a woman can break out. Um, and do her own thing and be really successful, because there's nothing holding you down in this business except yourself. It's really just about how much you want to invest, how much work you want to do, and it's about relationships as well, which I think sometimes women can have the advantage in relationships and empathy, and sometimes, sometimes it requires a lot of hand holding. You're talking about first time home buyers, and it can be a really nerve-wracking experience. I think that's, a skill that women tend to be nurturers maybe and look after people. So I think yeah, it's not one I've been in, like, coming from the broadcasting industry where it really was male dominated, like on radio, um there weren't as many women on radio as there were men. And that was there was a little bit of a glass ceiling in radio. Like it was really unusual for a woman to host her own morning show. Um, it's generally that's a man's job. The man's the host and the woman is the sidekick. Credit to Fresh Radio right now. Danny Guppy is the morning show host. She's a solo female run show.
Yes.
So we are seeing it now. But real estate never struck me as that kind of industry. So I really enjoyed the fact that there was no, oh, I can't be number one because I'm not a guy. It's like, if I'm not number one, it's because I'm not working hard enough. I can work harder. I can foster more relationships. I can do better. And it's all within my control. There's not some outside force saying, ladies don't host a radio show.
So that leads nicely into another question I have for you. And you touched on it a little bit, but what do you feel that women realtors bring to the table? Maybe not, I don't want to use the word better, but
Yeah,
a strength that women have that is more.
I get what you're saying. I understand totally. And this is something that I've been thinking about a lot lately. And again, not even in terms of like man versus woman, but just me personally. And I apologize, my dogs are running a circus behind me right
Oh,
now.
it's great.
Apologize. Um, but so there's a skill you want in a realtor. You want your realtor to be a great negotiator. And sometimes you see people talking about, oh, I'm a pit bull of a negotiator and I'll be a pit bull for you. And and you do not want a pit bull for a negotiator, to be perfectly honest, in the real estate world, because there's so much nuance that comes along with negotiations. There again, it's about working together, it's about teamwork, it's about two sides coming together and compromising. And even when a deal is firm and coming together, between the time that an offer is made and accepted and the time a home closes, there's continued negotiation throughout the process. Can we visit on this day? Can we bring our contractor in? Booking inspections, fulfilling conditions. There's constant negotiation and relationship building that happens throughout that entire process. So you want a strong negotiator, but you don't want a pit bull. You want someone who can work well and play well with others and who can have a really great, friendly, and collaborative relationship with other real estate agents in the city and with home buyers and sellers in the city. You don't want someone who's antagonistic. And I think women are really good at fostering healthy collaborative relationships, I'd say. Mm.
Yeah, I can totally see that. I also wonder too whether, and I just think this because a friend of mine, they weren't moving, but a friend of mine had one of her friends in who was a real estate agent. She took one look at the washer and dryer and said, "You need to move those downstairs." And she's like, "Well, they've always been there." And she's, "No, no, you need to have that as a such." I don't know what she had told her, to maybe a mudroom type setup with a bench. I can't remember, but took one look at it. You need to move those.
I know, yeah, that's a really tricky thing to do. And it's something that you want to, when you're going through other people's homes, if you are helping someone prepare their home to list, that's something that requires a lot of sympathy and empathy and sensitivity, because you don't want to go through someone's house and say like, oh, you got to paint this and that's ugly and you've got all this clutter and this and that. You do want to help them achieve their goals, but I do always try to be really sympathetic to understanding, first of all, people need to live here while the home is on the market. They need to be comfortable while they're living here, but also respect other people's stuff and style and taste too.
Yeah.
It's
Okay,
not like I
well,
would never refer to someone's clutter. I would refer to like your collection, these items over here. Like we're going to pack this away to create space, not because your figurines are ugly, but because we just need to create space, right?
okay,
Um,
so that's another thing I want to talk to you about. I understand that you and Ben have a great little program that
yeah.
increases the sale value of people's house. Tell me about
It
that.
does. It's the Work Now, Pay Later program. And what it is it allows us to do work and repairs on people's property that will help it either sell faster or increase the value. And so, it's not that we're going in and doing like a whole gut job reno on a kitchen. Like that's out of our means. But what we do is, we've had clients where the backsplash in the kitchen was really damaged and maybe dated or whatnot. And so the backsplash was replaced and then the kitchen was painted and it really freshened up the whole thing. And that's what made the kitchen really beautiful. Well, that's something that will, if someone is in a position where their cash is locked up in the equity of their home, but they need to sell, then we'll pay for that in advance. It's an interest-free loan, conditions apply, but we'll pay for that in advance, and then they'll pay us back when the house sells the same amount, no interest or anything like that. We just want to help you get it done and get it going. So those are the kinds of repairs that we make. Or sometimes it'll be, we've done a new roof for somebody. Sometimes it's like a couple of runs of poly B plumbing, which can really scare people away. We'll get that replaced. We've got a great roster of contractors and just, in our experience, we know what are some needed repairs that might scare off potential buyers, or what are some things that we could do that would increase the value of a home and just make it more sellable. There's a lot of competition in today's market.
Yeah, that's fabulous. They're not all doing that, are they?
No, it's not. This is something that Ben, my partner, started doing years and years ago. And it's a program that we've had for a while. But we've really started to put the push on it lately just because, it's during the COVID years, and it was you could put anything on the market and it would sell in a week over asking. You didn't have to worry about it. But it's challenging now. So we're really pushing the fact that, we can help increase the sellability of your home.
Yeah, great. Beautiful program.
Thanks for asking about it. Yeah.
Oh no, I think I like it's fabulous because probably I mean, I'm not in real estate. I keep putting the disclaimer out there, but for a couple $1,000, if that increased the value of that kitchen to by $5,000,
Yeah, yeah.
you know,
Sometimes it's not even that it's challenging to say, invest this much and it'll increase the value of your home by this much. But it could be, if the house down the street is for sale and the kitchen's really sparkling, sometimes just that's the difference. It's about, this you now made your house superior to the one down the street and
right.
and you just can't argue that, right? So even if they are both the same price, like yours just sold and this one's still sitting there.
Yeah.
Mm.
So I like to ask this question from people that are on the podcast that work with their partners. When you've worked together all day, what do you talk about at dinner?
So I'll say we don't work together all day. We actually are usually pretty separate throughout the day. Or we'll just have short, brief meetings in the day. But, I mean, the correct answer is no, we only talk about social and private and family related things at dinner, but that
Well,
would be a lie.
museums and concert halls.
Oh, of course. Yeah, we talk about art and literature. No, of course. We talk about work a lot. And I'll tell you, I come by it honestly. I grew up in a family business. So I grew up talking about the business at the dinner table. That's our whole family worked in the same business. That's what we talked about. And sometimes you talk about it because it's a necessity. Sometimes you talk about it because it's something you're really fired up and excited about. Or sometimes you talk about it because, oh, it was a tough day and I gotta decompress and get it out, as you mentioned before. But I think like we do consciously put an end to it. Like if we're sitting down and having a meal and we'll talk a little bit about work, and then one of us will say, okay, enough of that. Let's put it to bed for the night and let's talk about, I don't know, a movie or some interesting thing. We
Yeah.
have yeah, yeah. We do, and I'll tell you, we have other things that we do together that we're passionate about. Like we really like our home. We've got a little kind of hobby farm homestead thing here. It's the least productive farm. I always call it like it's an Instagram farm. We produce photos. But we talk about our animals and we talk about our gardens and the flowers and dreams and projects we want to do and things we want to build here. So, we scheme and dream as well. Mhm.
Excellent. Beautiful. You're active with Rotary, the Rotary Club of Peterborough. Tell me what
Yeah.
tell me what your passion project is there.
I've got like, well, there's a few. There's like a handful of things that the club does that I just absolutely like love and it warms my heart. So every Monday morning, I go help. I have a group, there's a group of us that we go make breakfast at Prince of Wales Elementary
Oh,
School.
yeah.
There's a different group of people every day of the week. And so I'm with the Monday morning crew. And honestly, there's like not a lot in my everyday life that brings me more joy than flipping pancakes on a Monday morning for the kids. Like it's just delightful. I really, really love it. What else? A couple of really like exciting things. Last year, I chaired the Rotary Spelling Bee
Oh,
Committee.
yeah, that's
Oh my God, it was like, you think you're going to be cool and chill about it, but man, like a kid's spelling bee is extremely exciting. Like people are on the edges of their seats trying to spell the words in their heads. Very exciting. So love that. We've got our Carl Oak Rotary Swim, which is a really great Rotary Century 21 collaboration that we do every year.
for
Raise
decades. For
yeah, for
decades.
decades. Yeah, Carl Oak started this. Yeah, I think it was like almost 40 years ago.
When he was
Uh,
our age.
yeah, he did it on a bet too. Like it was just some silly, someone was like, "Oh, I'll give you
Yeah.
10 cents for every lap you run." But anyways, we've raised well over $1 million at this point for Easter Seals and the Rotary Club of Peterborough. So hugely passionate about that. And the club does so much. I don't necessarily have my hands in every pot, but one thing I have been really focusing on the last couple of years is I'm on the Rotary board and I'm the communications person. So using my background in communications and broadcasting and marketing, I'm really kind of making it my mission to just get the word out about Rotary and specifically the Rotary Club of Peterborough and just informing the community of the amazing work that we do and trying to draw in new potential members to join us in what I say informally. I call it's good deeds club. We just get together and do good deeds all over
Yeah.
town.
Yeah, very true. Very true. Yeah, there's something for everyone in Rotary, isn't there?
Really, yeah, there are because the nature of the club, like it's a worldwide international organization, and they've got these avenues of service, these missions that they try to accomplish all over the world. So of course, the eradication of polio is the big one that everyone's really familiar with. But Rotary also focuses on environmental initiatives, on child and maternal health, literacy. There's a few others that are not going to come to mind right now because like world peace is a big part of its mission. Like honestly, how can you not be on board with an organization that has these core values?
Yeah, very true. Very true.
Mm.
Yeah, it's an interesting time to be working on peace too, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
But
it's like a Sisyphean, yeah.
yeah, but
Uh,
there are people working on peace, so
there
we're
are.
always
And
hopeful.
it's interesting. So we had our Paul Harris Awards a week or so ago, and one of the recipients, I feel terrible because I can't remember his name right now, but he said a line in his acceptance speech that actually really moved me, and it was something to the effect of hope. Hope is a verb or hope is an active word. And so it's a hope is a thing that you do, and when you have hope, like you're a
Yes.
happier, better person. It makes the world a better place, and that's what it is, right? when the world can seem really dark and scary, here is this little bit of hope that you can cling on to. And every couple of weeks, this group of people and I get together and we meet, and that's hope, right? This is a huge group of people who's getting together to do good things. You got to have hope. Yeah.
Yeah, very true. Very true. Oh, Catherine, we could talk for hours, couldn't we?
I told you, you'll have to shut me up. I'll go. It's my favorite subject.
Well, I'm really glad that you took time to be with us today on Chez Les Fleur. What we like to do at the end of our podcast is we end it off with a few rapid fire questions. So if you're
Okay.
up for that, I'm ready to ask the questions.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. Bungalow or split level?
So I'm a realtor. So that's like definitely one is better than the other for different type of people. If you're a family, I would say split level. There's lots of different opportunities to have separate space and together space in a split level. It's an excellent use of space. If you are just, a couple or a small family or a senior, bungalow. I would personally choose bungalow.
Okay.
That's not very rapid fire, sorry.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
Okay.
Sandals or runners?
Sandals,
Pen or pencil?
pen.
Burger or pizza?
That's like asking me to choose my favorite baby. I couldn't. Pizza, though. I'm gonna
Okay.
commit. So, yeah.
Scepters or charge?
So is this the hockey teams? Is that who you're referring to? Amazing. Okay. All right. Um, I'll say scepters simply for geographic reasons. I'm slightly closer to Toronto and it is the center of the universe, so I will go for them. Is
Well,
that fair?
yeah, it's going to be it's going to be fun watching them this season.
I
The whole
know.
league. It's going to be really great and, good on them and go.
I know,
Anything,
totally. And I
all the
love that
teams.
question. Thank you for including
Well,
it.
hey, just always trying to learn something.
How about you? Scepters or charge?
Well, I'm good with both. And
Yeah.
I realized after because they're both the two Ontario teams.
Yeah, it's
So then I
true.
started to overthink it, like, should I have taken one from, out of the province or out of the country? And I thought, no, stick with home.
Yeah,
Ontario.
got to, yeah.
Excellent. Well, Catherine, thank you for being with us today. Real estate, like I said earlier, is fascinating because I don't know anybody that hasn't driven down the road and gone, I love that house. I'd love to
Mhm.
live in that house. Or I wonder what it looks like inside, or oh, they're putting in a pool. All
Exactly.
that stuff.
And it always affects us, whether you realize it or not. Like every other home for sale in the city has an impact on us, on the value of our homes, on what's happening in the market. It really does have an impact. Yeah.
Yes, it sure does. Well, again, thank you for being with us today. If you are watching us for the first time, welcome. If you've come back to see us again, we're really glad that you have come to see us. And we talk about women, we talk about small business, we talk about husbands and wives in business and what their world looks like. But we love small business, and we're glad that you've come to watch us, hear the ups and downs, the challenges, the ins and outs, and just the fun we're having. So, Catherine, thank you again for being with us. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for doing this. This is such a good idea. I love it.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And, like I said, we've had some fascinating people on our show. So I don't know whether you've watched previous ones, but one of my
I haven't
favorites.
yet, but I got some links, so I will. I'll be watching those. I think I
Good.
saw Tiffany
Okay. Well,
Arcari on
watch the
there,
one
right?
on the Australian woman pilot who at 18 years old flew around Australia by herself.
Holy jumping.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm like, whoa.
Yikes.
Anyway, good to have you with us. Thank you for watching, everyone. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, Janet.
Thank you, Catherine.